Welcome back, friends, to this brand new Techhandy course on VMware vSphere 7. If you're interested in VMware virtualization, you're in the right place. Before we start, don't forget to drop your comments and feedback below, and let me know what VMware topics you'd like to see next. In this video, we're going to explore the vCenter server management interface and its powerful features. We'll then dive into how vCenter backup and restore work, and finally, discuss migration and upgrade options in vSphere 7. We'll begin with a tour of the vCenter Server Management Console, which provides deep insights into your vCenter's health and configuration. First, under the Summary tab, we can see high-level information about our vCenter server, version details, uptime, and health status. Next, under the Monitor section, we can review detailed metrics, including CPU and memory usage, disk performance, network utilization, and database statistics. Then we'll move to Access Settings, where you can configure how users connect to vCenter management, including SSH, DCUI, CLI, and Bash shell access. Under Networking, you can review IP configuration, DNS settings, and proxy settings if your environment uses one. The Firewall tab allows you to review and control which services and ports are allowed for management access. Then comes Time Settings, where you can verify your time zone, and configure time synchronization to ensure your logs and events stay accurate. Under Services, you can view all vCenter services, check their status, and start or stop them, and also can change startup type, such as manual or automatic if needed. Next, we'll review the Update section, showing your current version, available updates, and update history. Since it's a new install, you will not able to find much details under here. Then move to Administration Settings, where we can configure password expiration policies and system-wide credentials. Under Syslog, you can check the Syslog forwarding configuration, used to send logs to a central Syslog server. And finally, under the Backup Schedule tab, we'll review scheduled backups and activity logs. Now let's talk about vCenter Backup and Restore. It's important to understand that vCenter backups create a complete VM-level backup, not just configurations or settings. That means a restore operation rebuilds a new vCenter VM from the backup image. To demonstrate this, we'll set up an NFS share on our Active Directory server. This is not a recommended production setup, but fine for our lab demonstration. In a real-world environment, you'd use a dedicated NAS or SAN for vCenter backups. On our DC01 server, we'll install the NFS role, and under the C drive, create a folder named NFS_share. This is the path that we would require later to point backups. We will select No Server Authentication with Unmapped User Access. You can limit the hosts where this NFS share can be visible, such as vCenter server, but for our lab we make it available for all machines. Again, these are all for lab purpose only. We'll configure it as an NFS share with encoding Big 5, grant read-write permissions. And though not recommended, we'll allow anonymous root access for this lab demo. Keep rest all default permissions. Then, in vCenter Server Management, we'll create a backup schedule. We'll enter the same NFS share path. Make sure to define protocol before entering path. Provide backup server credentials, which is domain controller server credentials in our case. Define the schedule. Choose whether to encrypt the backup, and make sure to keep those encrypt backup passwords stored somewhere, since those will require for restore. Decide how many backups to retain. We'll also select which data to include, such as statistics, events, tasks, inventory, and configuration. Our backup schedule is now created. Before starting the backup, ensure the VMware topology service is running, as it's required for backup operations. Under Backup, you can also select Backup Now option to create a quick backup. Let's provide all required details and run a manual backup. Once backup completed, we'll verify the vCenter backup folder including all backup files created under our NFS_share on DC01. To demonstrate restore steps, we'll mount the vCenter ISO and run the installer from Windows UI folder. That's the same installer that we used to install VCSA earlier. Select the option to restore and go through the wizard steps. You can read the introduction on first page. Accept the terms of the license agreement. Enter backup details, same NFS share path where we performed the backup earlier, and type in backup server credentials. You can review the backup information. Choose the deployment target. ESXi node or existing vCenter server name where you want to create restore vCenter virtual machine. Provide credentials according to the target what you select, ESXi or existing vCenter. Accept certificate warning. Select Datacenter or folder to create the Restore vCenter server VM. If you selected existing vCenter for Restore, select the individual ESXi node or cluster resources to deploy the restored vCenter server. Provide new vCenter server VM name and set the root password. Provide the unique VM name which is not already assigned, or you will end up with the same error. Select the deployment size, data store, and disk mode. These all we discussed earlier in detail while installing vCenter server video. Configure network settings and finally, get ready for Stage 1 deployment. We won't actually trigger the restore, since our vCenter is running fine, but this is exactly how the restore process works in production. Recommend you to watch vCenter install video under same video series if you not already watched for Stage 1 and Stage 2 complete deployment. Now let's briefly discuss migration and upgrade options. Migration is used when moving vCenter from one platform or version to another, for example, from Windows-based vCenter to the vCenter server appliance. This is a cross-platform migration, so you'd be migrating from vCenter server for Windows to the latest vCenter server appliance which running Linux underneath. Upgrading, on the other hand, keeps the same platform but moves to a newer version, such as upgrading from vSphere 6.7 to vSphere 7. If you are running vSphere 5.5 or vSphere 6.0, then upgrading to vSphere 7 is not going to be directly supported. You could upgrade from those to vSphere 6.5 or 6.7 and then upgrade to vSphere 7. However, if you have 6.5 or 6.7, upgrading to vSphere 7 is supported. So upgrading comes from a previous version, migrating comes from a different edition of the software, especially vCenter server for Windows. Whether you're doing an upgrade or a migration, no matter what, you want to make sure that you read the release notes before you perform your upgrade. Have a good backup and make sure that you prevent any downtime related to upgrade or migrations. It's always best practice to back up before performing any upgrade or migration to ensure you can recover easily if needed. So that's a complete overview of vCenter server management, backup and restore, and upgrade and migration concepts in VMware vSphere 7. In the next video, we'll discuss auto-deploy in vSphere, what it is, why it's important, and how to configure it in your environment. Don't forget to like this video, share your feedback in the comments, and subscribe to Techhandy for more VMware tutorials. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.